Good, at, good evening, Dr. Bilkins. This is Dominic Wyszynski, here to submit my audio and visual topic presentation. I'm going to choose mentally challenged for the topic that students may be afflicted with, and I'm going to go ahead and read the definition and the benefits of actual physical activity for students, which is regular physical activity can help children and adolescents improve cardiorespiratory fitness, build strong bones and muscles, control weight, reduce symptoms of anxiety, depression, and reduce the risk of developing health conditions such as heart disease and cancer. Now, I'm going to take that and roll right into the segment that you gave us. I forget what chapter it was, but it talked about the beginning of physical education and why we actually had physical education and gym teachers. Now, what the definition said was that in the 1970s or 80s, they incorporated physical activity into the schools so that special needs students could improve their lives and the general expectance of what they're capable of. So, based off that, I'm going to go right into the different types of mentally challenged disabilities or mentally challenged diagnoses that students can be placed upon. So, physical, which is muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, chronic asthma, epilepsy; developmental, which is Down syndrome, autism, dyslexia, and processing disorders; behavioral and emotional, which is ADD, bipolar, oppositional defiance disorder; and sensory impaired, which is blind, visually impaired, deaf, or limited hearing. Now, I chose the mentally challenged topic because the students that I work with, it would be nice, but they're not all split up into one class like autistic kids, ADD kids, Down syndrome, autistic, dyslexic kids. So I actually have to work really hard on having different procedures and different cues in my class that keep them all actively engaged. Now, upon reading the one chapter that we discussed saying that physical education teachers in Pennsylvania and New Jersey are actually by law required to be actively engaged in the students' IEP process and help them along with their physical and psychomotor development processes, it actually made a lot of sense to me because I wasn't aware really that the impact I could make on the kids. So I went ahead and I talked to my principal. I said, I just brought it up and said, Dr. Williams, I did thought about something as I was reading through some topics in my class the other day, and it came to my attention that by law, I am supposed to actually help the kids in the life skills and the special needs classes with their development and IEP goals. And she was blown away that I even asked that. And then what she determined me to do was she said, well, there's not every single kid has a psychomotor development problem. I said, I understand that. So I went and talked to the chair of the special needs department in the school. Then I went ahead and talked to all the teachers and the aides in the life skills and the special ed classes. And I asked them, hey, for help. I asked them for feedback. I said, what basically do I need to do to help these girls and boys along with their goals, these mentally challenged students? It could be something as simple as stretching or asking the aide, hey, I need your help. I have 12 of these guys and 2 of them aren't paying attention, which is the case I'm going to get to later. So the life skills class I'm going to talk about that I incorporate, in my cues and the difference in my special needs class and my normal class is basically right from the beginning. So I have a couple notes written down here. So the keys to my success in this class, these types of classes, are patience, which is an absolute must, organization, and creativity. Also acceptance, and I've learned I've had to have an initiative and a calming nature about myself. So I have to go in understanding that they may not necessarily pick up on the lesson like the other classes did. So I have to be prepared to explain. I have to be prepared to be patient. I have to be prepared to develop. Okay? I try to make activities short and concise whenever possible so that maybe even if I don't reach one kid, we're doing different activities so that I'm reaching the other kids while I'm doing this. I've also learned to give immediate feedback. When they're not doing it right, I stop. We all pay attention, and then we try to help each other fix, the physical or the mechanical problems doing wrong. So let's say we're doing a basketball shot. I had 10 students last Friday, and 8 of them were doing great. Okay, so I asked the 2 aides, hey, could you watch the other 8 while I take Nasir and Aaron over to the side and we just work on using one hand and pushing the shot up. Okay, working on one hand and pushing the shot up. So sometimes we have to go back and reiterate things and then try to go forward. But I've also learned to provide the disabled students with frequent progress checks, and they also really like recording themselves and being a part of the lesson. So a difference in my special needs class and my regular physical education classes would just be, as we've gone over so far, the segments. Okay, the segments are shorter. All right, I may stop more. I may explain more. Okay, I may give them extra cues to help them along. All right, but that is just the gist. Now, the rights of special needs students is they're entitled to everything that normal students are entitled to. And actually, like I had previously stated, my job as a physical education teacher is to go out of my way to make sure they're being incorporated into the lesson. In Chester, I also have a thing where I will have some of the students in the life skills class, but they also go once a week to a normal physical education class, which I have to go out of my way to make sure they're learning and that they're being incorporated. Now, the importance of this, and the way I boiled it down to the teachers and aides was, hey, listen, we have to get on this stuff because, referring to the IEP goals, I have to get on this stuff because it is my job by law to be a part of this, okay? And at the end of the year, I'm going to look back and go, hey, did I do everything I possibly could do to make sure they were developing physically and developing their hand-eye coordination like they should be able to do, right? So, because I know I have 4th and 5th grade students, but one day, if they're not developing right, they're going to be hindered by their next gym class or the job they have one day. So developing their needs and developing their psychomotor, their hand-eye coordination skills are extremely important. And